Welcome back, everybody. It's me, Lady Dog. I am here, and we are going to be discussing an anime series that I finally got around to watching, finishing up since it was only 3 episodes long, and from a creator I absolutely love, which is from Tite Kubo, which some of you might know from the creator of Bleach. And also, you might know he kind of been out of the spotlight a little bit, or so it seems anyway, for a manga series of concern, especially with how Bleach ended up. But he are back with a very short 1 volume or 4 chapter little series that recently just got turned into an anime for this season, and have a grand total of 3 episodes total, and you can watch all of them over on Crunchyroll right now. Not sponsor, but if you do want to sponsor me, hit me up, Crunchyroll. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this. But before we do, make sure you do the like, favorite, subscribe, hit some bells. You know what to do, because every little bit help me here on the channel, and I personally would really appreciate it. So please do that for me, won't you? So with that, let's go ahead and get into everything that is about Born the Witch. But do not worry, I won't be doing heavy spoilers here by any means, so go watch it. So the series itself pick up with our 2 main characters out and about doing little odd jobs for the military force that seem to be made up of witches and wizards who are there to pretty much protect the human race, or at least the part of London that have quite a little bit of a dragon infestation. So here they are being pretty much the man in black, coming in, taking care of any dragon that might pop up, and in return trying a bit to keep anything related to dragons and magic and anything under the carpet, as so no one in England will be all the wiser outside of that one little province inside of England. And this is pretty much all 2 main characters. Their jobs are just being just straight up military grunt for the organization of hunting down dragons. So we begin with them, of course, running into a guy who just happened to stumble across a little dragon dog looking thing, and in return have to rescue him, and return after stopping him, and a little bit of world building as far as how the magic and dragon work in the universe, since at least it seems if anybody come in contact with the dragons, if they are not a part of the military group, if you are a civilian and you come in contact with the dragons, sadly though, you kind of have to die, especially if you try to befriend the dragons. So this is pretty much what the character ends up being, is someone that they were just kind of going after since he had a dragon, and he kind of was making a big fuss and running amok throughout England with his little pet here. But instead of them actually deciding to kill him off, they decide, hey, maybe the guy, since he seemed to have a little bit of mana in him, maybe we could use him to help us hunt down some dragons. But we very quickly realize he is just an idiot and have no idea what he doing at all. And in a lot of ways, don't even seem like he will like dragons or anything, and if he technically got one as a pet now, since they let him keep it. But the story itself is pretty made up of the 2 girls and that little dumb character running around doing some jobs here, trying to make a little bit of a living here. But very quickly we get wrapped up into a little detail about the dumb character of, it seemed like if you come in contact with dragons, more dragons will come for you eventually, which is another reason why they just straight up kill you if you get involved in a dragon. So he not totally useless, but pretty much episode 1 is just pretty much world building and going into how the dragons operate, and pretty much, to put it bluntly, the military group is just Men in Black Dragon Edition. But from episode 2 onward is where we start getting the actual plot coming into play here. We start meeting some other characters, we start figuring out about the organization that is the Dragon Hunters, and also we get a lot of little more world building toward into all of this, which is fantastic, and really get across that it's much more to the universe than what obviously the 4 chapters or the 3 episode anime can really dive into, which in return to add kind of a fascinating level. And honestly, I hope that Kubo actually will do something more with this and not just be a little one-shot, but if it is, good job on the world building here. But episode 2 onward, we pretty much get involved in finding out that there is a friend to one of the main characters who have got herself a dragon, and yeah, they kind of have to go stop her because she kind of in love with one of the main characters, and then we turn is kind of yandere-ish, I guess you could say, in some ways, and then we turn have to deal with old dragon who have kind yeah, went a little insane since it was kind of playing off of all emotion. And on top of this, we find one of the captains of the military force who is coming in realizing that, hey, probably gonna put a hit after the little dumb character when they picked up in episode 1, since they will like he, well, useless to the military force, and if he's useless, then it's time for him to go. So we get a small little conflict between some of the higher officers coming in to try to take this guy out, but kind of get distracted by the dragon that in return is a dragon of fairy tale, which is established in the universe that the dragons that are pretty much made out of fairy tales, or I get the way to put it, is super OP. And in return, it will take more than just, 2 little scouts for the military to take out. So we very quickly get into the let's make peace to take out the big dragon issue. So the dragon itself is pretty much destroying England, and we pretty much get a little bit more hints and stuff of some of the other characters. Some of the little B-lit characters are realizing there might be a little bit more to them than we originally thought. But the series itself, it pretty much wrapped up in that little arc of introduction of the war and the character, a little bit of conflict with some of the higher-ups and how the higher-ups look at dragons and the people involved in dragons, right along with a little bit of character backstory for one of our main characters here. So it is a very straightforward story, but like I said, it's a lot of stuff here that is very fascinating on a larger scale that we just do not see in these 3 episodes. And then on top of that, as far as the Bleach side of the deal, we do have a lot of like little callbacks into the Bleach universe. Nothing too much, but a few for some Bleach fans that might be out there, as well as some mechanically, story writing that is involved here that, you could look at maybe as like tropes for Bleach in some ways, which is mainly made up of course, its magic system. Its magic system is pretty much made up of every spell being category into like numbers. So it'd be like 05 code and then a name of a spell. Which some of you who might be Bleach fans, you might realize about, this is very similar to the way that Rugia used all magic inside of Bleach as well. So a little bit of callback on that, and also might just be a naming scheme that Kubo just actually really like. Right along with the hierarchy of like a military force protecting people from monsters and the dragons, just like the Shimagamis and Soul Reapers of Soul Society did for the humans. So mechanically, it's a lot of like writing tropes that is very similar, and honestly, if you like the writing style of Kubo, you will notice that a lot of the same tropes kind of carry over from Bleach into this. And also another thing that carry over that was actually a really good thing, since some writing trope can be good or bad depending on your attitude toward Kubo writing, but as far as the character designs and whatnot, it's top notch. So Kubo is still a fantastic illustrator, and this is a man that know how to make character design. Any of the character design elite for the main characters are a little more, basic appeal to some of the character design you might have seen in Bleach, but still, they still have the same type of style and look to it. No matter how simple some of them are, you still get a very great character design out of this. And then the small little bit that we see of the captains of the organization of dragon hunters, you can tell that it will, the more crazier side of Kubo art style will come out. And then we told if you only see a handful of the character for a matter of seconds, it's still a treat to be seen here. And then I ain't counting the one captain that does come and play in episode 2 and 3, any with his design, and mainly especially with his design for his gimmick with his face, which, as you can probably see on screen right now, is actually really cool but really simple at the same time. And then on top of that, the music has such a fantastic, fantasy, but, a super, upbeat action type fantasy of music. And it just fits it so well. So, honestly, any episode of 1 through 3 is fairly short, with this series being less than an hour long total. It does do a fantastic job of what it needs to do with the introduction of the character, the introduction of the universe. Everything fits so well, and the characters being, our 2 main characters being the very rambunctious, like, give me my money, badass attitude type of lady, and old sidekick being kind of more deadpan-ish. And it does a very good job of the whole good cop, bad cop bouncing off of each other. And honestly, I really hope more actually comes of this. Hopefully, we will, but once again, if we don't, this is still a fantastic one-shot that is worth your time. And if you're a Bleach fan, any if not as connected as some of might would hope, it's still enough little things here that will tickle your fancy as far as Bleach is concerned, or at least bring back nostalgicness of some of Kubo writing tropes. So with that, that will do it for my review of Born the Witch. And once again, if you do want to check this out, 3 episodes, and they're all available right now over on Crunchyroll, and I highly, highly recommend this. Any episode 1, more on the slower part, but episode 2 and 3 really get going. And honestly, if you got a little bit of time to kill, you cannot go wrong with Born the Witch. Thank you for checking out my video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If so, feel free to check out some of these videos over here. You might enjoy them as well. And also, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, hit some bell, do everything you do. I would appreciate it. So till next time, have a good one.